Hey guys, Tarke here, and before we get into this, I've got like a really bad coldy, fluey thing at the moment, so expect really low energy. So with that in mind, I've been going pretty slowly with the leveling. We're only level 81. I will do a map later in this video, so chill. We've made some changes to the build. There are some things that I really like and really dislike about this character, which is kind of making me feel a bit iffy about pushing on it. I don't know if I want to push on this or maybe just remake it as an occultist. I know, right? See, I dream. So, what recent changes we made to the build? Last time you saw it only had like 4.7k HP, now you've got like 5.4k HP. How did that happen? So we dropped the Devotos, it was completely overkill, we really don't need it. We have 75% movement speed with only a level 18 Grace. I've put the Grace in the off link of my +3 bow, so it gets +1. So, yeah. But you can see that with Flask active, 189% movement speed, yeah, pretty good. So that aspect of the build, I love. I like running around really quick. That feels really cool. That is also missing Uber Lab, which gives a bunch of evasion scaling, and that's also missing evasion scaling from, frenzies. But basically, I move quick, I will move even faster, and the Devotos just wasn't needed. So we picked up this. I picked up without the enchant. I got this enchant. I just lucked out when I was doing my Mercer Slap, and I was like, huh, pretty good. So I just looked for as much life as possible. So he has 91 flat life, has the 41 strength, so it's like 115-ish life. I picked up some resists just because I needed some resists. I didn't chase the resists too hard though, because as you can see, we're fine with weakness cap, and that's the thing which I really like about this build, is you can be really flexible with the gearing. Meaning you don't need insane levels of gear, you don't struggle at capping out resists or anything. And this is only with, I get some resist on this jewel, and I get some resist on this jewel, but that's it. Only 2 jewels. So it's not like I'm using crazy OP jewels to get my, resist up. So, yeah. Slap this in, and we dropped the Blood Dance for 0 step. I don't know if this is a permanent change I'm going to do or not. The reason being, as you can see on the tree, I haven't picked up all my Frenzy charges yet. So running the 0 step, running the Blood Dance boots felt kind of overkill, because I can very easily generate my frenzies just with Frenzy Curse on hit. So until I have like 7 frenzy charges, I don't know if just using Curse on hit will feel bad. I'm purposely not using Blood Rage. It's very important that you don't run Blood Rage in this kind of a build if you're doing this as a life-based, because you're already at a slight disadvantage. Well, no, you're already at a massive disadvantage being life over CI. Caustic Arrow has no leech, so you want regen. You just want regen. This has 5% regen. You could run Blood Rage to have 1% regen, but you just want the regen. So when I get up to 7 frenzy charges, at that point, just using Frenzy Curse on hit might feel bad. So there's that. I'll just quickly run a whatever map, just because I'm just rambling, so you just get to watch me do it. So from that point of view, the defense is getting a bit better. Assuming we keep the Queen of the Forest, and the Queen of the Forest is the main thing I like about this build, so I don't really want to drop that. Assuming we keep it, we're probably not going to get much higher HP. Maybe with perfect gear, stacked coral rings, I could maybe at level 90-ish, and this is assuming I don't get loads of life on the tree. I'm missing 4% life on my current tree, that's it. Maybe 6k HP. With Champion Fortify, that's like decent levels of defense. It's nothing that crazy. It's definitely nowhere near as good as if I was playing a CI occultist. And that, with a few other things, is kind of my main issues with the build right now. So we are still only on a 5 link. We only have a level 19 Caustic Arrow. You want a level 21 Caustic Arrow. There aren't any for sale, or there's like 1 for sale, but the dude's AFK and hasn't got quality, so it's like, screw that. I just feel like the AoE is bad. Well, not bad, but it's lacking, and I haven't got Conc effect yet. And when I get a 6th link, I'm going to want to run Conc effect. Sure, for anything below probably tier 10, you can get away with just running increased AoE on that 6th link, and you'll be completely fine. But above, like, tier 11 plus, definitely, once you get up to stuff like 12, 13, 14, 15, you're really going to want the concentrate effect for basically everything. And one of the issues you'll have, and you'll notice it a little bit, is, okay, for example, these 2 mobs. Now, because I hung around, I could kind of keep them sort of kited into the pool. But generally speaking, the way this build works is you want to just shoot once, then run, because we have so much movement speed. And right now, I'm in this awkward situation where my damage isn't insane, and my AoE isn't that great. So what will happen is you shoot once into a pack. I'm being really AFK, I'm not like cursing and stuff. So you shoot once into a pack, and then you just piss off, you run forward, right? Now, you either need enough damage that you instantly kill everything, or you need enough AoE that if a mob moves like 1 inch to the left, it doesn't move out of your cloud. Now, once I get the concentrated effect, this has become even worse. So we can't get any AoE on the tree, because we are a duelist, and we're just not near any AoE. You can improve the AoE slightly by running a Carcass Jack, but then you lose the Queen of the Forest, which is currently my favorite thing about the build. So that feels kind of bad, but I feel like that might be where this character needs to progress. Like, it might need to step onto that. The other thing you can do is you can run an additional projectile quiver. That will indirectly give you a little bit of extra AoE. Oh my god. That'll indirectly give you a little bit of extra. This guy's like a pretty good example of it. Okay, so you see how... Let me try and show you what I mean. So I'm going to purposely miss a mob. So I'm going to shoot like here. And this dude just chills, right? So if I was to just run over here now. In that case, I had enough damage to kill it, but this is like a whatever shitty tier 5 map, right? So I kind of feel like AoE is lacking. And this is why I'm in a bit of an odd one. So I'm kind of like, I wanted to play life because I had a bunch of pretty good life gear just lying around. I had a bunch of decent life rares. I generally prefer life to CI. I didn't want to invest loads of currency into CI gear. And champion is like fine, but that's it. It's just fine. It's not like amazing. So I don't know how much of this is just because I've got like this cold, and I don't know if you guys get like this as well, but the second you start to feel a little bit ill, everything is terrible. Like, there's a slight scratch on your desk and suddenly it's the end of the world or whatever. So I'm kind of in that headspace. I don't know if like in a few days time I'll wake up and be like, oh, this is amazing. But I feel bad about pushing this character, so I was like, well, why don't you just remake it as this? Just to briefly go over ascendancies and the different like life options for ascendancies. For life builds, I still think that champion's up there. I would say the best two are champion or scion. I don't really understand trickster hype, and the Deadeye hype is kind of whatever. So let's cover the trickster hype. Now, by far the best thing about trickster by far is Swift Killer. The frenzy charge generation is amazing. Other than that, I think it's overrated. So we'll cover this at the end. Damage over time. Damage over time. So 40% damage over time, it's decent. Most ascendancies just get like generic 40% damage. But you get more damage than that just by being a champion. Increased recovery of life, mana, and energy shield. You're not really going to have enough energy shield for that really to be meaningful. The increased recovery of mana is actually quite helpful. And the increased recovery of life is obviously kind of helpful. So that's good. That's a good 2-pointer. This is a very good 2-pointer, and then you've got the 4 points left. Evasion, scaling, attack, and cast speed. So if you were still doing Queen of the Forest, then that's not terrible. Faster start of energy shield recharge, pretty much. 5% chance to dodge attacks and dodge spells, pretty good. 10% increased movement speed while on full energy shield. This is kind of good, kind of basically, you just move faster in town always, and if you think of this kind of like, you know, the boot enchant, 10% increased movement speed if you haven't been hit recently, it's basically the exact same thing. If you're not running Blood Rage, this will always be active pretty much. Every now and again you get hit, you lose a little bit of movement speed. This is actually like a pretty solid 2-pointer. Like, it's good. Bit more evasion, attack and cast speed. All of this cast speed, it's worth noting, does make your Wither Totem better, so that is actually quite juicy. And then you get Shade Form. Shade Form gives you some flat evasion, obviously pretty good. Flat energy shield, you need the flat energy shield to enable Ghost Dance. You get some attack and cast speed for energy shield to recharge decided recently. The attack speed isn't useful. You could purposely proc this so that you get the cast speed on your Wither for single target. Maybe that's a decent idea. Then you get 20% more chance to evade attacks while not on full energy shield. So it makes your evasion slightly better. Now, this is good. It's not as much damage as Champion. Champion actually gives more damage. It's not as much defense as Champion, because Champion gets Fortify. It has more quality of life in the fact that you get all this extra cast speed and attack speed. You get nice frenzy charge generation. You don't need to worry about running Blood Rage. You don't need to worry about Blood Dance. So it gets more quality of life than Champion, but it doesn't really get more damage or defense. It doesn't get direct defense. It gets like slightly better evasion, gets slightly better dodge. little bit of movement speed if you haven't been hit, but it's not Fortify, right? In terms of like starting on the tree, sure, these 5 points are better than these 5 points, but these 5 points aren't actually that bad. You get a tiny bit of life, you get a bit of attack speed. The attack speed feels kind of meh. The attack speed makes the build function slightly better, but it's not good, right? So it gets a better start, it gets a more efficient start. Definitely, you have to give it that. For Deadeye, Deadeye's another weird one. Deadeye should be really good for Caustic Arrow, but it's kind of underwhelming. So attack speed, as stated, obviously the more attack speed you have, the smoother playing Caustic Arrow is. In the fact that if you have a really slow bow, it's really noticeable. If you have a really fast bow, it's noticeable, it makes Blink Arrow better, but that's kind of that. It's not, like, huge. You get some attack speed, some Proj damage, obviously pretty good. You're not going to run a chain Caustic Arrow build, so ignore these 2 points. So, fast and deadly, good. Actually, Proj damage, good. Far Shot. Now, I've read that Far Shot doesn't actually work with Caustic Arrow because its projectile attacks gain damage as they travel further, meaning it's the projectile, not the cloud. If anyone can clarify that, I'd be very interested, but from what I've read, Far Shot does not apply to Caustic Arrow. If it did, this would be amazing, but it doesn't, apparently. Accuracy Proj damage. I guess you could argue the accuracy makes your Frenzy Curse on hit slightly better. Endless Munitions. Endless Munitions is good. So, flat accuracy, Frenzy Curse on hit slightly better. 20% increased AoE, obviously really good. One of my main gripes for the build at the moment is AoE, and Skills Fire additional projectile. Now, briefly to demonstrate, I picked up a Death's Heart recently. There we go. I just put my Caustic Arrow there. So if you look, you see you shoot 2 clouds. So that's kind of what the AoE would look like if we go over here. So that's what it looks like with 2 projectiles. That's what it looks like with 1. This is bigger than this, right? So that indirectly gives you more AoE, which is obviously pretty good. So from Deadeye, what you get is a lot of AoE. You sort of get some damage, and your 8 point is kind of awkward. So you obviously don't want Ricochet. You don't really want Rupture. And you don't really want Powerful Precision. So you then end up just spending your remaining points on getting, like, projectile speed, attack speed, and projectile damage and crit chance. So it's kind of like, it should be really good, but it's not that amazing. You could probably get away with just running Flask stuff. You could also make the argument of just doing Raider. And I think Raider might actually be better than Trickster, in the fact that if you came up this way, you get Courts and Fusion, which gives you dodge. You get phasing. Phasing's good. You get evasion scaling, movement speed. Evasion scaling, movement speed. You get Avatar of the Veil. The LE damage obviously does nothing, but you get more movement speed, which is good. Immune to status ailments, obviously very good. You get more dodge from this than you do from Trickster. Then you can get Way of the Poacher into Avatar of the Slaughter, or if you want, you could do Way of the Poacher and then just Rapid Assault just to get Onslaught generation if you wanted it. But I feel like Avatar of the Veil and Avatar of the Slaughter would be kind of the way to go. I think this is better than Trickster. So that's kind of cool. But you don't get any defense from this, right? You get the status element immunity and you get the dodge, so you get pseudo defense, but you don't get like raw mitigation, you don't get like increased health pool, you don't get increased energy shield pool. It's just kind of there. Scion is then obviously the other like good go-to one, but even Scion feels kind of lackluster with the nerfs and just the unfortunate state of Scion. So your main kind of options are Cultist, Trickster, Deadeye. Those are like the main sort of things you pick between. Deadeye, it was a lot better when it gave you the 50% chance of projectiles piercing. At 30%, it sort of works, but not quite. So you get 30% chance of projectiles to pierce, increased chance to cause bleed on hit, obviously not that great. Projectiles gain damage as they travel further. We don't know if that mechanic actually works or not. Skills Fire, extra Proj. So the extra Proj is AoE, so that's good. 30% chance to pierce is not quite enough. If it was 35%, it'd be perfect. But at 30% chance, you get 30 from this. You can get a Jewel, that's 15, so that puts you to 45%. And then you can get some chance here and use like a non-corrupted drill neck, and then you can sort of make that work. But it's just kind of like the numbers just a bit short. There are some essence crafts you can use, so on and so forth. But like the number is just kind of iffy, right? It's just, if it was a bit higher, it'd feel better, but whatever. Occultist gives you energy shield, but if you're doing energy shield, you just play an Occultist anyway. So the energy shield regen is obviously worthless. Enemies you cast have 50% minus chaos res. That's really good. Increased damage if you killed a cursed enemy recently? Sure. And then for Trickster, you would get increased recovery of life, mana, and energy shield if you killed recently. More chance to evade when not on full energy shield. Increased damage when not on full energy shield. 100% increased mana regen if you've used a movement skill recently. So that's good. You know, you probably do Trickster and Occultist because this is only 30% pierce in my opinion. You could take Dead if you wanted to, but I think this is slightly better. Just because this gives you that really nice mana regen, which makes the build feel smoother. You get 100% just base if you've blinked recently, and then you get the 30% increased recovery if you've killed. So that's actually really good. And then you get, you know, just some more chance to evade. So I think that Trickster is pretty solid. But again, these options aren't that great. And then this is kind of where I'm at. I'm like, should I just remake as a cultist? And then you just get, like, the powerhouse. So we all know that CI is better than life. As much as I, you know, enjoy life-based builds, and I do much prefer the life-based playstyle, CI is just better. So it already has that massive advantage, right? You get 20% Chaos Pen. Pretty good. You get some chaos damage, you get some energy shield scaling. Energy shield scaling, Profane Bloom is AoE. Cursed enemies you kill have a twisted chance to explode. Dealing quarter of max life is chaos damage. Enemies you curse take 10% increased damage. So you know, back to that scenario where I was saying, you know, if you have stuff slightly on the edge, because you get those explosions going off inside, this gives you more AoE coverage. It just gives you more clear speed. You then have the option of going Tricast. Tricast is very easy. You don't need a Heretic Spell or anything super fancy because of the Witchfire Brew existing, which gives you the vulnerability Blasphemy. You then get Wicked Ward, which is obviously pretty amazing. And then you have the option of Vaal Bastion if you didn't go Malediction. The other thing which is very important to note about Witch is because it's a Witch, you get to get these AoE nodes. And that makes the build feel so much smoother. And just because of these AoE nodes... Okay, and let's tab back in to Pee-wee then. So just because of these AoE nodes and Profane Bloom, ignoring the fact that it's just any shield is better than life, I kind of want to just remake this character as an occultist. So that's kind of where I'm at the moment with the build. It works, it's fine as a champion, but it would just kind of be there as an occultist. You get a lot more defense, you get more AoE quality of life. I still don't really get the Trickster hype. I feel like Raider's better than Trickster these days. And Scion just feels kind of... That being said, if you are going to do life-based, Champion is perfectly fine for it. If you have the 6th link, if you have the levels on the Caustic Arrow, if you don't have a stinking cold and you have, like, energy, then, you know, this is a fun character to play. You move really quick. It works. I'm just kind of in a bit of a weird mood at the moment. As for the Zeri farming... This is, like, the one thing which is making me, like, pretty hype about playing Caustic Arrow. The whole thing of it Zeri is, like, move in a circle. Can you move in a circle? Not standard things. Okay, you can kill it Zeri. It's not a DPS check. And obviously, that's something that Caustic Arrow is really good at. Because it's just like, boom. Run around in circles. Mirror phase. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoa, run around in circles. Add phase. Stand in the middle. Cloud, cloud. Run around in circles. Oh, no, it's trio. Kill that one, run away from Cyclone, that one died. Kill Cyclone, kill the last one. Oh no, it's the Vaal Oversoul phase. Boom, boom, run around in circles, they die at like the same time. No random one-shot slam. Feels good, man, right? So, yeah. I don't know, would you guys be interested in seeing me remake this as an occultist? Just there's going to be a wall of, yes, you retard, should have made a cultist from the first place. Yeah. I'm Tarke. The cat is still sleeping on the bed for anyone who watched the last video. I need a lamb sip. Have a good day. Bye-bye.